Everyone has a story to tell, and in a new documentary, we get to hear some great ones right out of Danehy Park in Cambridge. Local filmmaker Frederico Muchnik documents the stories of people from all walks of life in open space, which will premiere at the Cambridge Public Library next month. Frederico joins me now to discuss. Thank you so much for being here. So, this project was over the course of 6 months. I think you visited the park maybe 60-something times. How did you kind of fall into doing this?
Well, documentary filmmaking is something that sort of involves research and exploration and discovery. So for me, I had just come out of a project in California and was looking around for what to do next. And Danehy Park was right up the street from where I lived. And I thought, I've been researching what it means to be a member of the community. What is civic engagement about? Who are the people in my neighborhood? What do they do? And I started going to the park and seeing the sheer astonishingly high degree of multiculturalism and the variety of uses that the park was being used for. And I thought, this is free lighting. The audio is great. You can't ask for better audio. You've got nature. Why don't I just, start approaching people and ask them to tell their stories? And so it started out on May 25th of 2023, and my first client or customer or victim, if you will, was Carl Younger, who happens to be the first person in the film. And he is a African-American gentleman who is retired and who used to work at the Globe. But he was, riffing on martial arts there in the park. And I remember asking him if I could just film him at work, at play. And he said, sure. And we got to talking. And, after shooting a bunch of B-roll, I did an interview of him. And then I, brought it together in the editing room. And I was on my way. Yeah, and you have just these series of vignettes that are... It's really a love letter to open green spaces. And I think it really profiles... all of the limits are only, your imagination, really, right? You've got people playing Frisbee and people having festivals and family gatherings and people having sporting events. And you talk to people, immigrants who came to this country and sort of talk about their experience as well. I wanted to play this clip of one woman who you spoke to who you asked her what her favorite part about the park is.
Who's in it? The fact that it has such enormous neighborhood use, and the neighborhood is situated between such an interesting and broad demographic range, and everybody within that range is in here using it.
And that's the thing, that's what you captured. I want to take this film and put it in a time capsule because it profiles a place and this sense of community that you were looking for, but it also shows a time, right? And the park wasn't always this lush green place. It was a landfill for a very long time that closed in the 70s. And you spoke to a retired Cambridge firefighter, Bill Bumper Sullivan, who talked about hanging out and playing in the park at the landfill when he was a kid.
I was probably, 7 or 8. There would be older kids, probably 12 or 13, who would throw a cherry bomb down the rat hole, and then it would explode, and then the rat would come out another hole about 10 feet away. As if that wasn't bad enough, the kids would then shoot it with a BB gun as it exited the other hole.
He's just exploding rats, right? He's talking about a completely different... I love that you included him because he's part of this history. Who else did you talk to, and what did you find in your exploration of the park?
Well, Tori, there's such a multitude of faces and people and personalities. I was really taken by a lot of the kids, a lot of the preteens. You got these very fluent English-speaking Ethiopian, Somali kids who are fully assimilated and who just, love to play soccer, and they are clearly learning about teamwork and leadership and cooperation, and it's just such a, the park just kept giving. It just kept giving. So that was a real special moment, I think. There were many different faces, and the film kind of presents them all in a way that mixes up in a hopefully engaging and telling way the individual who is on his or her own, either reading a book or doing Tai Chi or whatever it is, versus the larger event, like the Cambridge Youth Soccer League, where you have, 3,000 people vying it out. And so putting the film together was an exercise in rhythm and pacing and finding the moment where, I sense that the audience wants to take a breather, and so we go with something quieter before we come back. And that's how I think we were able to engage people and why there's been so much interest in the film.
The characters are just amazing. This one kid, his face, his expressions, he's out with his father, they're racing cars, and here they are just talking about why the park is so important to them.
Yeah, he's something else.
I want to play this clip. We have a clip of them, actually.
Go
I'd
for
love
it.
to play. Yeah.
Danehy's an amazing place. He just did the soccer league, so he did soccer here. I do my walks here with the dog. I walk the track. I want to say for most of our outdoor activities, we're at Danehy probably 95% of that time.
And you started this also during COVID, right? And you were going through some personal stuff. I don't know if you're comfortable talking about it. Just, I wonder, because you had mentioned that you were looking to highlight and profile community and where that came from personally for you. Yeah,
as an artist, filmmaker, my personality invariably becomes enmeshed in whatever it is I'm doing. And so, I had been diagnosed with tinnitus, which has since subsided, but at the time, for the people who have it, I really empathize with them, because you think it's going to be forever. That beep, and over time it sort of subsided, and I finally, as I mentioned to a reporter at Cambridge Danehy, was able to sort of work through it and just focus again on my work. But it was a crippling condition for about a year.
And everyone was locked inside. I think that sense of community was missing for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think even though I started the film after COVID, I really, and I think as everybody has wanted to, just felt this need to just connect with the community, my neighbors, find out who they were. If I have one piece of advice to the world, it's get to know your neighbors. They're going to come in really handy when you get locked out of your apartment,
Great. Awesome. Well, you have a bunch of screenings coming up. We're really excited for you.
Yeah.
Frederico Muchnik, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very, very much.